I'm going to start my salutations, as we say them, the greetings. It's going to be a little longer than Maxwell's, as we really want to acknowledge all the visitors that we have today, so please forgive me. I want to start by Honorable Don Cravens, Jr., the Under-Secretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development. Rita Jo Lewis, the President and Chair of the Board of Directors for the Export-Import Bank of the United States. Honorable Ino Ibong, the Director for the U.S. Trade and Development Agency. His Excellency Makele Mene, the Secretary General for the AFTAC Secretariat, will be joining us. Our U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, please note I said our U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Meg Whitman, all the other U.S. agency heads present, all our Kenyan and regional ministers, cabinet and principal secretaries who are present, the regional ambassadors to Kenya who have joined us today. We have Scott Eisner, the president for the U.S. Africa Business Center, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and indeed a lot of the members. The representatives from the East Africa Business Council and the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Fellow AmCham board presidents, CEOs of AmChams Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. All the AmCham members from Kenya and across East Africa. The special AmCham Kenya board who helped to support all of this, all the delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and then I can say all protocols observed. It is my personal pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to today's AmCham Business Summit. It's our third summit, as Maxwell indicated, and we're so delighted that you could join us. This summit, as Maxwell told us, has been made possible by the close partnership between AmCham Kenya, the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Africa Business Center, Government of Kenya, and all our regional counterparts in AmCham Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. I did mention very many names, and this was to acknowledge and appreciate the high-level participation of the U.S. government. There's a visiting delegation led by Honorable Don Cravens, Jr., the Under-Secretary of Commerce for Minority Business. And indeed, we also want to acknowledge the very generous support that we've received from all our sponsors. To all our members of AmCham, and indeed to all of you delegates who've joined us today, and as we say in Swahili, asanteni sana. This third edition of the AmCham Business Summit comes at a very critical time, both across the region and globally, in the aftermath of the global pandemic. The desire has been not just a return to the previous normal, but for revitalization, and we hope you see this in the summit today. Projected economic recovery, both locally here in Kenya and globally, however, continues to face risks associated with the elevated inflation, the drought crisis in the region, rising interest rates, the ongoing war in Ukraine, among many others. So the purpose of this summit is to drive relevant conversation on re-energizing our economies, exploring innovative ideas, discussions and policy changes to shape a more resilient future. It's also a great time to be focusing on the region. East Africa has been the continent's fastest growing region in recent years, with the ADB projecting a growth rate of 4.7% in 2023, positioning East Africa as the top performer in growth amongst the regions of our continent. And how does AmCham Kenya fit into this discussion? Our mandate is to promote two-way trade and investment between Kenya and, by extension, of all the other AmChams present, the region and the United States. To meet this mandate, there are two questions that we are constantly considering. The first, what are some of the challenges that prevent US companies from doing business in Kenya and indeed the region? And the second, what can we do as AmCham to change that in a significant way? We have not had to search wide and far, deep to find the answers to the first question. We got this information from our members and across the region, and we have ongoing research on the same. And we identified 3 key challenges which hinder increased trade and investment. And for many of us in the room, these are not new challenges. The first being an unpredictable policy and regulatory environment. The second being limited access to credible, actionable market information. And the third, a lack of confidence in the business environment. AmCham has been working very closely with the government of Kenya and the US government on the business environment challenges, and we're glad to report that good and steady progress has been made, some of which will be announced during this summit. With the support of USAID and Prosper Africa, who have actually been amazing partners, we set on a course to respond to the second question on what we can do to change or catalyze trade and investment in a meaningful way. We began by, firstly, providing access to market intelligence. So we developed, curated, and compiled credible market information on one easy access platform. It's called the AmCham Connect platform, which we have on showcase in the exhibition area outside the plenary hall. And I hope you're able to go and see this. And indeed, much to our delight, in the first few months of launching this platform, we've had 12,682 users, majority of whom are based in the United States. We welcome you to pass by the Connect self-service station, as I've said, and get a glimpse of this platform and see what it has to offer. Secondly, we looked at providing accelerated market entry advisory services to help build trust and accelerate the ease with which businesses can make decisions to enter the market. Thirdly, we looked at policy advocacy to enhance the investment climate by growing our sector policy task forces, where we have 8 sectors covering digital, economy, health, agriculture, tax, immigration, logistics and supply chain, manufacturing, and energy and infrastructure. And lastly, investment promotion through trade missions with facilitated B2B matchmaking, similar to what we are driving today and tomorrow through the Brella platform. I'll say that again, the Brella platform. And I hope you've all downloaded this app and are using it to schedule your meetings during the summit. The AmCham Business Summit is a culmination of all these efforts, allows us, we hope, to enable joint discussions on enhancing the policy environment to drive growth and advance new opportunities for trade and investment. And we see a lot of opportunities for enhanced trade and investment between the United States and this region. And a key highlight, I must say, is what we know as STIP, the Strategic Trade and Investment Partnership. We're very pleased to see continuing negotiations on STIP, where we hope to witness numerous benefits of a modern, comprehensive, long-term trade framework. In conclusion, it is our hope as AmCham that over the next 2 days, we can all have opportunities to reflect, interrogate, and build consensus on how we can continue to work together and achieve our joint aspirations. Once again, I welcome you, I thank you for your participation, and I'd now like to ask Scott Eisner to come up on stage. Scott chairs our US Africa Business Center for the US Chamber of Commerce in the US. Thank you.